G'day everyone, I'm Smokescreen and welcome back to another video, and it has been a while, I do apologise. I've had a bit going on, haven't really been in the best frame of mind lately, so I just took a little bit of a break, and, oh well, I'm still technically taking the break, but this is just a video that I kind of felt like putting together from the Nations Cup round from a couple of weeks ago. I obviously want to try and catch back up, even if I'm not technically racing at the moment. But this is round 6, I believe. It was a good few weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago. By this stage now, you can see the combination here. It's actually at the brand new layout of Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya Grand Prix layout, so quite a mouthful to be honest, but it's basically what we just call Catalunya. And it's the no chicane variant, so as we're coming into the third sector here, this is actually the end of our first qualifying lap as well. You can see we fly through turn 13 and skip the chicane, and then what was previously turn 16 becomes the final turn at turn 14, so we're essentially just leaving out 2 corners. That first qualifying lap there, a 1:39.2, obviously not the best because we are currently provisionally in last. Out of the people that have actually set a qualifying time, 12th out of 13th, with only Meta 7 behind, still yet to actually set a lap, or he set an identical lap. Come across the line, slight improvement there, so yeah, we're kind of struggling at the moment. We're still provisionally last. Oh, there we go, Meta 7's actually last, he's 2/10 behind me. Let's see if this lap is any improvement. Slightly enough to jump up 1 spot, but we're still 4/10 away from Tez, who is kind of someone that I would be qualifying right next to on the best of times. But let's go through this lap and see if this is going to be an improvement. This is going to be, actually this is our second last opportunity at qualifying here. Take it through turn 1 and turn 2 quite nicely. Turn 3, you're just playing the patient game to get on the throttle and make sure you don't run wide on the exit. And then heading up towards Repsol, turn number 4, braking just before the barrier. We're actually 0.02 of a second purple there. Emery has set that purple lap. Quickly eclipsed by Twitchy as we head down the hill towards turn 5. Not really difficult to pick out a braking point for turn 5 there, but there is something on the left that I was using, a light pole of some description. Once it left the screen, I hit the brakes. Heading down towards this tricky corner where it's so easy to run wide and get a penalty because the apex of this corner comes up straight after turn number 8. It's so easy to cut turn 8 because it comes off the exit of turn 7, and then this corner is kind of the same story. So easy to run too wide because you can just about pick yourself up a penalty if you run too wide out of there. And then heading into one of the slowest corners on the track, if not the slowest corner on the track. Look at that, nearly half a second blue there. Let's see if we can carry this to the line. This is going to be a pretty good lap if we can just keep it together through this final sector. So everything up to this point here we should be familiar with, and then we head into the slightly unfamiliar last couple of corners now because we fly through this corner and carry so much more speed up towards this final turn. This final turn was actually flat in the other layout when you go through the chicane, but in this layout you actually have to brake. But up towards the line, 0.6 improvement, 38.4, not too bad, but it puts us 10th, 2/10 off Cedars Proud and behind Foss. So we are ahead of Tez there though, so I don't think Tez has quite put together the best lap he could either, but let's see where that puts us on the grid as we head into the first race today. It's again 10th, which I'm not that happy about, to be honest. I would really like to be getting sort of up towards the podium in terms of qualifying, maybe 5th or 4th kind of realm. I think 6th is probably the sweet spot because you generally have 4 or 5 really high quality top split drivers here. I nearly said top strip. That's not quite what we're going for here. But qualifying 10th here, I think my main problem is I did the majority of my practice on the hard tyre because that's the tyre I'm going to be using in the race. And it turned out to be quite a difficult combination actually because it's a no-stop on the hard tyre. And I personally struggle with the hard tyre in this game. It just has not got enough grip for me. It doesn't give me the confidence in the car that I need to be able to lay the power down and go quick. I feel as though on the hard tyre I'm constantly on edge, constantly about to crash, constantly about to spin out or understeer, and then as soon as I try and take some preventative measures I end up just going way too slow and I get swamped by the rest of the pack. So as I stand right now I struggle with the hard tyre, which is why I did a lot of practice on it. And that just meant I kind of neglected the soft tyre a bit, which was available, and the softest tyre, and so therefore you use it in quali. I just neglected that a little bit, and I don't think I was quite able to trust the car as much as I ordinarily would. If I'd practiced the softs and I nearly half spin out here, I managed to just about gather myself back up, but I just let Tez through, so that loses me a position, and that's exactly what I'm talking about with the hard tyre. So, I hate these hard tyres, bro. What is this? So yeah, that's something. That's exactly what I mean. Like the hard tyre, I want to be able to just lay the power down and sort of let the car slingshot out of that corner. But on the hard tyre, you just end up spinning out, and you got to be so careful. You got to hang it at like 80-90% throttle, which is quite hard, especially with the really light throttle pedal you have on the G29. You've got no resistance to that throttle. It'll just, you have a muscle twitch in your foot, and it'll slam the throttle down. It's that easy. But now we're stuck behind Tez, which isn't really what I wanted for this race. I really look to move forwards in these races. I don't want to move backwards. And like, I'm third to last year. There's only 2 cars behind me, and then that's the back of the grid. On a really good day, I can be getting kind of 5th, 4th, 3rd in this split if some things go my way and a couple of people up the front make a hash of their races. I can just about scrape a podium. With everything all going well, maybe 5th or 6th is probably where I'd expect to get in this kind of split, but I'm back here in 11th, and it's just really not good. And I did a load of practice on the hard tyre, and I'm still not where I want to be in the race, and that's just coming off the back of the poor quali. The other thing about being stuck behind Tez here is that unfortunately in GT7 the dirty air is quite a big issue, and you might be thinking, oh, we're only in Group 3 cars here. Yeah, I know, we are only in Group 3 cars, and yet it's so hard to follow through some of these flowing corners. And then Catalunya on top of that, at the best of times, isn't the best overtaking track, because you only really have one fantastic overtaking opportunity down into turn 1, but it's only a 90-degree swoopy corner. It's not a hard braking zone into a hairpin. So as you can see there, we end up getting stuck behind Tez for quite a long time. We're on lap 6, which is halfway through the race. We do gain a position there. Dylan Lindgren spins out driving the Honda NSX, so quite an oversteering machine, I'd imagine, especially on those hard tyres if he has decided to go for the hards. There are some differing strategies here today. Some people were choosing to do a 1 stop on the softs, or even a no stop on the medium, because all the tyres were available, but none were actually mandatory, so you could run your own strategy. This is lap 9. We're coming up towards the closing stages of the race, and then I get this curb glitch. Nearly spin out on the curb, and I feel as though that was a curb glitch, because I felt like the back of the car jump up in the air and sling me over to the right, and that just put me off the back of Tez. I was over a second behind, out of slipstream range. This is the final lap. I kind of get the same thing, but I think I ran too wide on my own there. I actually get myself a penalty at the end of the race. That'd be bloody right, wouldn't it? But we end up finishing in 10th, so we lost the position to Tez because we made a mistake, and we only gained because Dylan Lindgren spun out. Picked up 10th. It's just simply not good enough. There was a load of people ahead of me that I really should have beat, and yeah, I was quite disappointed, to be honest, because I felt as though I was just trying my absolute best, but it's just not good enough. And there's nothing more disheartening than when your best is still not good enough. We're going to go into the next slot. Traditionally, slot 2 is a little bit easier because a lot of the top guys get their good result in slot 1 and then dip for the rest of the night, freeing up the topper, for crying out loud, that's not a word. The upper end of slot 2 frees up the upper end of slot 2 to try and get some better positions here. And normally the points are just about okay for the podium here. About 280 is normally available, 280, 290, 300 for the top few spots in slot 2. So it's definitely worth going again. This is going to be our qualifying lap once again on the soft tyre, which admittedly we still aren't up to speed on. So I'm just trying my absolute best here. If we can just qualify ahead of the people I would expect to, then that will be fine. But on the exit of this corner, I just run too wide. That curb chucks me over to the left. I have to correct that, so that's quite a big error on this first lap. Thankfully, we have a good few opportunities here. Good lengthy 10-minute sessions in GT7 at the moment, which is nice. Heading up towards turn 9, this fast right-hander. I just dip a wheel in the grass, and the car slings off to the left. And I had never made that mistake in all of my practice leading up to this, and then I decide to make it in the qualifying session. But this lap is therefore punctuated by 2 fairly large errors here, so it should be quite easy to try and improve upon that. And it's 38.7, and it's actually, I'm not in bad shape there. That includes the 2 errors. If I can clean up those errors, maybe I could get a low 38, or maybe even scrape a 37. But let's see how the remainder of the laps go. Let's see, we clean up that mistake there, maybe a little bit slow on the exit, not committing to the power early enough. Then we clean up this mistake here. We do take too much curb on the inside, so not the best runs through those two pinch points, evidently. And we are actually a 10th down heading through that sector. I was surprised by that because I didn't feel as though I lost that much time. I definitely didn't maximise those two sections. So obviously I'm just going way too conservative through there, worrying about those previous mistakes too much. Once again, get the power laid down on the exit and don't nick the grass on the entry here. And we'll see what the sector split coming up is. We're not committing to the power through turn 9 there. That is probably my biggest mistake. So we're 4/10 down there, so this lap's a complete write-off as we head up across the line, 6/10 down, so that lap was a pretty large disaster. Let's see, we've got another opportunity here. We're on the power quite early there, and we actually get a pretty good exit, so I'm happy with that exit. Get on the power quite early. I don't graze the grass in the entry, maybe a touch wide actually. And yeah, we definitely did not maximise the track width there, but we'll see coming up towards the sector split. We are blue actually. Let's stay on board for the remainder of this lap here because we're actually blue, so we're on course to improve. We're qualified down in 6th behind Hyperdrift. I'm normally a touch faster than Hyperdrift. I would probably want to qualify ahead of him, and there's only half a 10th in it for that to indeed happen. Let's see if we can get a good run through here, run over the cone on the exit. Thankfully that doesn't affect the car, and then flow it into this final turn using that curb on the exit, but make sure we don't have too much steering angle as we mount that curb. Oh my god, this is frustrating. Ultimately no improvement. We ended up losing time through that final sector, so quite frustrating. So let's have a go. This is our last opportunity at the qualifying, because you can see that timer is under 10 seconds. Maybe a little bit of an early apex through that left-hander and then through this right-hander. That's actually fairly decent. We're committed to the power. We were able to keep the power down all the way to the exit. Let's see what this sector split is. 2/10 blue. Okay, let's remain on board for this final section. A little bit of a better flowing run through that left-hand hairpin there, up over the little bump through turn 11, nice and tight to the inside for turn 12. Just hang on the throttle, don't run out onto the gravel, that's not too bad. Slight lift off the throttle, get it in early for turn 13, out on the curb on the exit, straddle the yellow sausage and then brake it just before the end of it. Make sure you touch that curb on the inside and don't use too much on the exit. Up towards the line, it's a fairly decent final sector, a slight improvement. We end up jumping Hyperdrift actually, and he's completed his qualifying session. I just haven't got the pace tonight. I should be easy podium in this split, but I do jump Hyperdrift, but I'm still just not happy. I should have qualified ahead of Meta 7 and been right near Tez. But that's provisionally 6th there. Let's move on to the race. Alrighty, let's see if we can improve upon that. I think someone's actually disconnected from the top of this field here, and yeah, they indeed have. We have slot ourselves into 5th, so one better, but that's only because someone disconnected, but I guess that's a position gained already. But my main problem for this race and my main concern... Alright, let's just do some 41s. That's what I want. There's my goal. That's all I need to do. But I've got a bit of a problem. Here. I've qualified behind Meta 7. And Meta 7, perfectly fine driver. He can be quick on his days. But here today, my main problem is that I'm in the Subaru BRZ, which is the kind of the go-to car for this round. Really solid tyre wear, really good through the corners. Big crap on the straight, so it's definitely a handling car. Meta 7's in that McLaren 650S. Now that car, a little bit harsher on its tyres, not quite as good through the corners, but it's an absolute rocket down the straight. That straight is your one big overtaking opportunity at this track, so the fact that Meta7 can defend from me with that straight line prowess of the McLaren 650S, it just renders that overtaking opportunity completely useless to me. So what's going to happen here is, unfortunately, I think I'm going to find myself in another power car roadblock. You may remember that video from a long time ago. Hopefully we don't get a part 2 of that. Let's see if we can capitalise on the capitalise on the poorer handling of that McLaren and see if we can get the position that way. But yeah, I was a little bit frustrated with myself, and I went into this race already frustrated, and that's not what you need. That's a piece of advice I give to a lot of people is, if you're racing frustrated, it's over. And I was racing frustrated here, but I've got to make sure I don't take it out unnecessarily on Meta7, because he's done nothing wrong. I'm frustrated with myself that I've qualified poorly, or not qualified where I expected to, or where my expectation was. I haven't met that desire to qualify properly, and I'm now behind Meta7, who's in between myself and Tez. And you can see from the previous race, for the most part, I was able to keep up with Tez. Oh, yellow flags out at the start of this race. That is Dylan Lindgren. He's got himself a half-second penalty too. That tells a bit of a story. Perhaps he ran wide out of the final turn to get the penalty, and then ended up nicking the grass and spun out. But that's no good. Let's just talk briefly about the strategy. So I mentioned before that all 3 tyres are available, but nothing is actually mandatory. There's also no mandatory stop either, so you've just got all the tyres open to you. You can run your own strategy, which is actually fairly good. And in this particular instance, there was actually a strategy in which all 3 tyres were completely usable. You could do the one stop doing a soft, because the pit length here was short enough so that you could delete the time loss from the pit stop by the extra stint on the soft tyre. You could do a no stop on the medium, but you need to tyre save, so that was kind of reserved for the really skilled drivers, and perhaps like Twitchy, for example, in this lobby, would probably be the only one to have a go at that no stop on the mediums, because it's so easy to use up those mediums. And then the other strategy, and I think the most popular strategy, was no stop on the hards. The problem with the one stop on the softs is, on a clean run, it's about the same time as a no stop on the hards. But in the race, of course, you run the risk of getting held up, because you pit in, you come out further back in the field, and then you've got to make positions, you've got to make overtakes on track, and it's so easy to lose time that way. So a lot of people were just completely getting rid of that risk and just running no stop on the hards, which is what I decided to do. But it just means that I have to watch out for people coming up behind me. So Dylan Lindgren spun out. We'll see if he manages to catch up, or if he manages to stay behind. If he catches up and overtakes, he's probably on the mediums or the softs. But as we finish up lap number 2 here, you can see I've caught up to Meta7, and I'm having a hard time overtaking him. I was right up his backside through all of the little corners at the end of this lap here at Catalunya, but then look through the straight, he just drives away 3/10 down the road. I catch up quite a bit of ground under braking. I get a really good apex here, but I'm just kind of hampered at that's the widest McLaren I've ever seen at the moment. But you can see he's not quite on it through the corners, whether that be the amount of practice he's put in, or whether that be the car, but he just drives away. Look at that. I've just got nothing on the McLaren as it gets the power down. And actually, something interesting, actually, you can hear the engine of that McLaren quite prominently. It's an interesting sounding engine for a V8, to be honest. But nevertheless, lovely smooth sounding engine, so we have that going for us at least. But yeah, we've not got the best exit out of there. The gap opens up to about half a second. By the end of that lap, we've caught up a little bit, running wide through there actually. So this is another thing. This is another thing about this track. I don't necessarily think that this layout is better for racing than the one with the chicane. Everyone hates the Catalunya chicane, and I can understand why, because it's a clunky, stupid little chicane where you've got to mount the really, really aggressive sausages on the inside. But on this layout, you've got 2 flowing corners heading out onto the main straight. So if you're following a car, you get dirty air effects, and you just cannot stick close to them for that straight. And that was something I was finding here. I mean, obviously Meta7 can defend with that straight line speed, but it certainly wasn't helped by the fact that I was getting the dirty air through there. Actually, I've just looked down on the radar. That's Dylan Lindgren. He's 2/10 behind me, so he's caught up. Perhaps he's on the soft tyre, because he's caught up quite quickly. He was still basically stationary on the outside of the track when I went past him off his mistake, and he's now caught right up to the back of me. So I don't believe I'm going that slowly. I'm still only setting 42s, which is obviously not what I wanted, given that I said I wanted 41s in the team radio at the start. So I'm definitely beginning to grow frustrated at this stage, and I've just got to make sure I don't get sort of held up too much by Dylan. Coming through the field here, we break quite late here. Give Meta 7, he defends to the inside actually. Actually, Dylan just completely gets the underlap on me on the exit, drives clean past me through there, and then... Oh, come on. Oh my god. He's just going to get him down the straight. Why does nothing go my way tonight? So I feel like I've lost out there. Dylan Lindgren caught up to me on an awkward part of the track and had to kind of get past. I think he ended up making a bit of a mistake, which is why there was that slight bit of contact through turn 12. But then he gets Meta 7 down into turn 1. So I think overall I lost a bit more time from Dylan coming back through than Meta 7 did. Once again, I managed to catch back up to Meta 7, so I'm clearly faster than him. I needed to qualify ahead of him, is what needed to happen. My race has been significantly hampered by being stuck behind this McLaren for nearly half the race now. Tez has driven away, and remember, I was able to stick with him in the first race. I'm just losing so much time stuck behind this McLaren because I want to flow it into the corners, but I simply can't because either physically his car is in the way or I get some dirty air, like especially through turn 3 here, I'd be getting dirty air on the turn in. The exit's not so bad because once the car grips up, you're okay. But he's vulnerable here. I'm quite close to him here, and he brakes quite early. And I actually hang it on 50% brake there. I try to get on the power, and I got it. Oh my goodness. Nearly spin him out there. Oh man. Frustrating couple of races, honestly. Oh man, like that's what I'm talking about. I have so much extra grip through these flowing corners in the McLaren. Like, look how much ground I catch up there. And then he gets the power down and drives away on the exit. Dylan Lindgren comes in the pits actually, so that's a position gain for us. He was on the soft tyre, and that strategy really relies on you making 0 mistakes and losing 0 time. So the fact that he spun out has kind of ruined that race for him, and I don't really expect to see him catch back up by the end of the race. But still, we're trying to get past Meta 7. This is definitely a power car roadblock situation. So you remember that Autopolis video from when we were all driving the Megane Trophy and the Meta 7 was in the regular Megane, the front wheel drive Megane, just holding everyone up through the corners and then driving away on the straights. It's a similar situation here because look how close I am to him here, and then coming down into turn 5 he brakes quite early there, and I just kind of take slight avoiding action. I think that may be the spot. I think that's the spot. Actually interesting to hear my thought process out loud on that occasion that time. But I can tell he's struggling, so like I said at the beginning, Subaru BRZ's actually really good through the corners in addition to being really good on the tyres. So Meta 7 will be struggling with a bit of extra tyre wear compared to the Subaru, and the fact that I just simply have fundamentally better cornering than that McLaren. It just goes to show exactly how I'm able to catch so much time up through the corners. He runs wide through turn 10. That's got to give me an opportunity up the inside through turn 11, and we just got to give him space, and I'm not 100% sure if I gave him an adequate amount of space there. But I managed to get that position done, and it's not the spot where I thought I'd do it. That was just capitalising on the mistake that he made. He ran too wide, he ran too deep into the corner, missed the apex, was wide on the exit, couldn't get the power down. Finally! Oh my god! Finally! Oh my god, let's go! And I was there to capitalise on it. It was almost a bit of a cathartic moment. I had a moment of catharsis, just letting out all that frustration. Finally, but I'm going to have a look at the replay here because I wasn't 100% convinced, because I wasn't prepared to make that move. I wasn't ready to make that move. I just kind of went for it, and I don't know if I left him the required amount of space that I would have needed to. So he's run wide there. That bit of contact's not so bad. It's this one here. Oh. Do I squeeze him too tight? That angle's not the best to show it. We'll go on board with Meta 7 in a second. But I think I was required to leave him car width towards the edge of the track there. And I don't think I did. Let's jump on board with him. This will be the better camera angle to tell the story. He misses the apex by car width. He can't get the power down till he's straight on the exit. I get a much better exit, and then through here, oh, he's 2 wheels on the grass, isn't he? I think I definitely lean on him too much. I think I can say that much for sure. Yeah, I run him right to the apex, don't I? My right-hand wheels, let's have a look on this angle. As we come up towards turn 12, I almost am on that red and white curb on the right-hand side. Just here, like just there, I'm just about right to that white line. I don't think I left him enough space there. But, like, what do you do in that situation? It was paramount I got this move, and if I had backed out, you know, that would have ruined my race. I mean, that's not really an excuse, is it? It's just, I had the opportunity to go for a move. I do come out of the throttle. I haven't got my foot buried, and I can say whether you believe me or not, it wasn't intentional. I just saw the opportunity. I was like, bang, I have to go for this, and I went for it. And you know, I had my foot out of the throttle. I didn't intend to run him out of track, but that move was there, and I set it up the inside. I had a go at it, and that's how I got that done. Meta 7, he was not able to remain close. Quite clearly, I was faster than him in this race. And he's 1.2 seconds behind me already, 1 lap after it happened. As we come up towards the line at the end of lap 8. Straight to the 41s. Unbelievable, eh? Honestly. You just can't write this, can you? Straight to the 41s. I've had 7 laps in the 42s, so kind of mid to low 42s, so over the course of that I've probably lost a good 3 or 4 seconds. I should have been running 41s the whole way, and by the end of it, I just was not able to catch up to Tez and gain any further positions. I was 5 seconds behind Tez when I was released from behind Meta 7. I'm now 2.6. I'm faster than Tez too, and I just was not able to do anything with that pace. I was just stuck behind that McLaren for way too long. God, that's so frustrating. 5 seconds away from the lead. Oh, man. All stemmed from a shit quali. Honestly. What a rage-inducing exercise that was. Truly, just truly, that was one of the most frustrating races I've had in recent times. It was just... I mean, I've said it there. It was just rage-inducing. Like, nothing was going how I wanted it to go. And by the end, I had proved to myself that I had enough pace to pick up second spot. I believed at the time that I had lost over 5 seconds, and I was 5 seconds off the lead. I was 5 seconds off winning that race. Twitchy was about 20 seconds ahead, but clearly there was a mistake made. But he still managed to bring home the 310, the victory. But I believed I had lost more than 5 seconds. Now, realistically, perhaps I did lose more than 5 seconds. But would I have been able to overtake Tez had I qualified behind him and then keep that pace to be able to pick up that victory once Twitchy made the mistake? Not 100% sure what happened in the lead, but it's just frustrating. And like, I feel like it has to be said, right? Meta 7 through that entire race, he did not do a single thing wrong. There's not one thing Meta 7 did incorrectly in that race. It was just a case of myself not performing to my standard, not qualifying where I should have, getting stuck behind a power car on, you know, probably a handling circuit. It is a handling circuit. That Subaru is just too good, or it's too good in the race at least. But it's just frustration with myself. I didn't perform how I wanted to, didn't perform up to my standard, and I really, really suffered because of it. Didn't qualify good enough, didn't qualify where I should have, and I ended up getting stuck behind a car. I got punished for being crap, basically, and it was just so frustrating that at the end of the day, I did indeed have the pace for second. I reckon I could have got second in that race. If I just qualified behind Tez, overtook him, and then just buckled down, set some 41s and broke away, I think maybe it was 297 in the bank, but it just wasn't meant to be. I ended up just, yeah, frustrated with myself. 284 points, not a terrible result, and I was quite surprised when I saw 284. I was like, oh gee, alright, I'll take that. But yeah, rage-inducing exercise, power car roadblock part 2, and yeah, just overall a very tough round trying to keep the car on the road on the no-stop hard strategy. But anyway, that's going to wrap up this video. Do hit the like button if you enjoyed, and do subscribe if you'd like to see more videos and streams from me. Do leave a comment as well, as questions, comments, and constructive criticism, as always, very much appreciated. But that's going to be the end of this one today, and that means that is it from me. So once again, I do thank you very much for watching. See you later.